guys, what's up? I'm here with a review of a New Zealand horror comedy, well, a supernatural horror comedy from 2014, and tonight's movie is Housebound. I actually watched this movie twice today. I watched it this morning by myself, and then when my parents wanted a recommendation on something to watch, I recommended that movie, and I decided to watch it with them. So I just got done watching it for the second time. But basically, this movie is a supernatural horror film about a girl, and she's apparently she was an alcoholic and a meth head, and she's also she's also a petty criminal, and she's also bipolar and all this other stuff. And she's our main kind of titular character for the film. And we follow her as she gets caught committing a petty crime, and instead of getting sent to a rehab center like she thinks she would be, she's thinking, oh, I'm gonna get sent to a rehab center, it's gonna be easy, I'm gonna be out of here, you know, it's gonna be easy. And then it turns out no, because she gets sent to her mother's house, and she's put under house arrest at her mother's house for 8 months. And as it turns out, this house is haunted by a vengeful spirit of some sort. I'm not going to spoil what's going on in the movie, because it's really, really, really awesome. I'm basically just going to tell you guys about it. I think the good thing about the horror genre is that even though every year we get some very, very stupid, generic movies, you know, we get generic, stupid movies every year. There's almost every year, there's always at least one or maybe more movies that came out that year that are actually pretty good and pretty original. An example of last year's offering to the horror genre for good, you know, for the gems amongst the turds of the horror genre of last year. A few good examples are, of course, The Babadook, Horns, this film, and The Taking of Deborah. I think it's, yeah, The Taking of Deborah Logan, I think. And I also watched Horns recently as well, and The Taking of Deborah Logan. And The Taking of Deborah Logan, while it was still kind of a decent kind of found footage movie that still had a few jump scares and stuff, it was still pretty original, and I still kind of liked it. Same with Horns. Horns didn't have a bunch of jump scares. It was actually really original, although from what I've read, it isn't as good as the novel, which, if you guys don't know, Horns is based on a novel by Joe Hill, who is Stephen King's son. So, yeah, Stephen King, as in the writer of The Shining. Alright? As in one of the best horror writers known to man. But I'm getting off on a tangent here. This is one of the rare gems that we get. This is an example of one of the gems we get every year. Now, this film is a good combination of horror and comedy and suspense, because this film can make you kind of laugh and giggle at 1 minute, and then the next minute you're kind of creeped out a bit. It's very tense, it's very suspenseful, and it's also kind of a violent movie as well. How do I explain this? So, I guess we'll start with the acting and writing. The acting in this film is very, very good. Same with the writing. The characters are really, really deep, complex, fleshed out. I really like them. They're nice and relatable. I mean, they're not the deepest characters ever, but they are, you know, at least they're not as shallow as a poodle's piss puddle. So really, the characters we have is our main character, whose name I cannot remember, Kylie, her mother, her stepfather, the guy who's kind of keeping track of her with the house arrest bracelet on her ankle, and we have the creepy neighbor and the psychologist. And really, all these characters have their own, you know, I mean, they all have their own personality. They're all very cool, very, you know, none of them are really, you know, annoying or or you know, you don't really hate many of them except for maybe one or two. There's the music in the film is absolutely fantastic. It's very, very creepy, very tense. The sound mix is also really good. The soundtrack itself, what there is of actual music in the movie is pretty decent. The camera work, lighting, all that is really, really good. I'd like to comment on the fact that this movie has jump scares. Now, I did not say that this movie was as, you know, groundbreaking or as a return to horror. I didn't say it was a return to horror like The Babadook was. It's not really a return to horror. It's more of just like, hey, look, we're taking the modern horror formula and we're making it a bit more original and a bit more entertaining. And I feel like they did a very good job with it. So yeah, there's still some jump scares in there, but they didn't bother me as much, even though, and I mean, they're not as common as in like they were in Annabelle or The Conjuring or Insidious. And I mean, hell, I love Insidious. Insidious is probably one of my favorite modern like horror series, and I still think it's a bit of a ridiculous, stupid series. Special effects, what there is of blood and gore effects are very, very well done. And there's even a head explosion scene in this movie, which I did not expect. It comes within like the last 5 minutes of the movie, and it is a pretty cool, like head explosion effect. Although it's a bit cheap because you don't really see it explode. It kind of explodes off screen, and then you just see like the remains of what's left of this person. The film has a couple twists to it, which I really, really liked and I did not expect. I'm not going to spoil them, of course. On the gore meter from 1 to 10, 1 makes something like The Corpse Grinders, and 10 makes something like Brain Dead. This one's at least a 3. I didn't really expect it to be very violent. I expected it to be kind of funny and creepy, and I definitely got that. And there's also a decent amount of violence here, which I really, really liked. It kind of added to the film. It made it more enjoyable for me personally. All in all, I really, really like this movie, and I would give it a full-on recommendation if you guys like supernatural horror films and stuff like that. I definitely say check this one out. It's on Netflix right now, and there's also an American remake already planned. Even though this movie's not even a year old yet, there's already an American remake planned. That's how, you know, obsessed, I guess, Hollywood is with ruining good movies, that they feel the need to make a remake of a movie that's not even a year old. It just bothers me. But I'm not going to let that ruin the original. The original is still, this film currently is still very, very good. On Netflix, it's available, and I would definitely suggest you guys give it a watch if you have Netflix. I would also just suggest giving Horns a watch. That's also on Netflix, and The Taking of Deborah Logan a watch. Those all 3 of these films are on Netflix. I guess this is kind of a 3 movie review, although it's mainly a review of Housebound. Anyway, guys, I'd probably have to give it a 4.5 out of 5, 9 out of 10 stars. I really, really like this movie, and I don't know what else to say about it. It was pretty cool. Anyway, guys, I'm BiscuitBoo690. Links to the Facebook page, Twitter, Tumblr, all that, and Rotten Cotton t-shirts, where I get my horror film t-shirts, as well as my friend Chloe, her cosplay and makeup tutorial channel. She just uploaded a new video just the other day. You guys should check it out. It's pretty cool. And subscribe to her if you really like her stuff. I'm signing off. Peace.